No. Okay, I'm overreacting. It was all just a fever, Jane. It was all just a fever. Oh no. Oh no. Alright. Let's see how the Miraculous Ladybug fandom is doing. This can't be good. Well, let's talk about Miraculous Ladybug. Here is the complete history of Miraculous Ladybug and my thoughts on it. Welcome to the 5th anniversary of the Miraculous guy. Please kill me. Do people even watch this show anymore? Like back in 2016 when I was a kid, I was about 10 or 11, I found the show on YouTube and I honestly thought it was just for little girls. You know, I thought I had no business watching it, but I did anyways. Miraculous Ladybug is based on an original concept made by French writer and storyboard artist Thomas Astruc. If you don't know who Thomas is, you're living under a rock and I don't know why you're watching this video. Well, Astruc was born January 18th, a year and a day after my own birthday in 1975. Well, he was born in 1975, not me obviously. I'm not 40. He is obviously the creator of Miraculous Ladybug and has written almost every episode of the series except a few. Like literally, he's written like almost every episode from season 2 to season 4, I'm sure. But yeah, I know, as a creator, very fitting that he would write almost every episode of his own show. So Thomas himself is very controversial, but that's not why I'm here. I want to talk about the creation, not the creator. I have my own problems with Thomas. You can find me dogging on him in a few videos out there. Roll the clip.
Looking back on the season 4 finale, I did have a big hope for Miraculous season 5. Hawkmoth finally had all the Miraculouses, Ladybug and Cat Noir were alone and helpless, and guess what? It worked. Thomas, for once, I'm finally proud of you. It took us a while, but we got there.
Well, how did Miraculous Ladybug come about? Well, Thomas was inspired when he met a lady, not to mention, when he met that lady, up until that point, he had, quote, decades of comic binge reading. Once being interviewed, Astruc said he was working as an animator on a show when he met a woman wearing a t-shirt with a ladybug on it. The two worked together in the mid-2000s. They began to share drawings, some of which were ladybug themed. Astruc also noted that Marinette's, we'll get back to her later, signature pigtails were fashioned after the woman he met. Astruc first drew Ladybug on a sticky note and remarked about how strong the Ladybug character was. Growing up as a comic book nerd, Astruc never saw a Ladybug-themed character, well, a Ladybug-themed superhero. Which reminds me of how the late Stan Lee developed Spider-Man. You know, he never saw a spider superhero and decided to make one, and you can tell that Ladybug and Spider-Man do have a lot of similarities. I mean, just look at her. Astruc would create concept art covers for what the comic book series would look like. The concept cover art for the first issue reveals that Marinette's name was originally supposed to end with an A, so I guess it would be Marinetta, not Marinette. Cat Noir came into existence around the time the covers were being made, as seen with his appearance on cover number 12. Cover 15 was clearly inspired by Spider-Man, which I mentioned. Well, it's very easy to assume that the comic book series was going to be more violent and darker than what we got, based on the covers. Astruc had intended to make Miraculous a comic book series called The Mini Menace Ladybug, until he met a man named Jeremy Zag. Now, Jeremy Zag was born March 24th, 1985. He absolutely loved the Ladybug and Cat idea and wanted to produce it as a cartoon under his company, Zagtoon, which he served as, well, he still serves as the CEO. Zag was 25 at the time and didn't have a background in cartoons or animation. Astruc loved the idea, and the two got to work immediately. In developing Cat Noir, Astruc said that Ladybug represented good luck, so it was natural for her partner to be a black cat character with bad luck powers. Cat Noir was a tribute to characters like Catwoman, so it was like having Catwoman and Spider-Man in the same show, but just reverse genders. A character named Felix was originally going to be the role of Cat Noir, as the holder of the Black Cat Miraculous. Marinetta was eventually changed to Marinette, and Miraculous Ladybug went into production. A year later or so, the series was officially announced at a trade show in MIPCOM in 2010. Of course, Zagtoon was involved, along with Method Animation and Toei Animation, famous for things such as Dragon Ball. So Toei Animation came in June of 2012, along with Method Animation and Zagtoon, and a few months later, the world would get its first look at Miraculous Ladybug. The trailer, or the PV as it's called, was created by Toei Animation in an attempt to convince the other developers of the show that it could be done in a Japanese anime art style. They created the PV to see how the process would work, but unfortunately, the art style made the show harder to sell, and there were technical reasons such as ladybug spots. Soon the PV became the pilot when the team decided to switch to 3D animation. The PV was leaked in 2012 and wasn't officially released until 10 years later in 2022. It's a long time. It was officially released when Season 1 and Season 2 were a box set that was released in Japan for the now Miraculous Ladybug. You can find the PV on YouTube and various images of how Miraculous Ladybug was originally intended online. Now, this is possibly outdated or even fake news, but it was said that both Jeremy Zag and Thomas Astruc have confirmed that there is a 2D Miraculous Ladybug OVA. Now, an OVA is basically a pilot to an anime, which is said to be completely different from the PV. So it's basically the show we have now, but literally just an anime. Yet nothing further has been announced, so it's kind of all speculation. That's why I'm saying don't take my word on it. We did get an official Miraculous Ladybug manga in 2021, which has 3 volumes and is still running today. Surprisingly, something I didn't know is that Toei Animation acquired the rights to make Miraculous Ladybug into a manga, so technically they're still involved. Not to mention, the anime is referenced in the show a lot of times, which I think is quite clever and funny. In a way, it all comes full circle. And one day, I do hope we can get the Miraculous Ladybug anime. That would be really cool. So the South Korean company SAMG Animation came in to do the 3D work. A lot of things were changed. Felix was scrapped in favor of a guy named Adrian Agreste because the creative team felt that Felix was just a cliche of a male anime protagonist. They thought Adrian would follow them into more interesting stories. In December 2015, Astruc said that he was open to revisiting the character of Felix. He would later just abandon the whole thing by February 2016. He would state that writing that character was a poor idea. Felix would later return in 2019, being remade as Adrian's cousin, becoming an actual character in the show. By 2015, Miraculous Ladybug was out and all around the world, from South Korea to France to the United States, airing on various networks and getting almost millions of views every episode, at least in season 1. The Miraculous uproar was real and everyone was talking about it. It would become one of the most popular cartoons of the 2010s. The fandom was real and ready, and before season 1 even ended, season 2 and season 3 were already greenlit and being made. This will become a recurring thing about this show, and you'll see a little later. Season 2 was in 2017, Season 3 was in 2018, Season 4 was in 2021, Season 5 was in 2022, and now we should be getting Season 6 this year in 2024, about in the final quarter, so about in the winter. We've gotten various things like Miraculous Secrets, Tales from Paris, Miraculous Chibi, which all seem to expand the universe in lots of different ways. The biggest things so far have been the specials, the New York and the Shanghai and the Miraculous World special. Recently, the Miraculous movie, which takes place in a different universe. As you know, I actually have not seen the movie. As I mentioned earlier, Miraculous has a very bad premiere schedule and tends to announce things later and then not deliver them. The Africa and the Brazil special being like the biggest 2 examples of not delivering, because they were planned like for 2023, 2024. We still haven't gotten that. Season 6 was pushed back to this year, Season 7 in 2025, and guess what? You guessed right, Season 8 has been greenlit, and I guess the London special is happening as well, and that's where we are with Miraculous Ladybug. In my opinion, they've driven this show into the ground. To understand my reasoning, let's go all the way back to the early to mid 2000s, before I was even born. After seeing the original concept of the Miraculous Ladybug comic series, I would have read it in a heartbeat, dude. Are you kidding me? It is a slightly different concept to what we have now, with a darker undertone. That would be great. The closest thing we've gotten to that was the recent Miraculous World special, which I reviewed on the channel, and in my own words, was the greatest piece of Miraculous content we've gotten since Season 4. I wasn't the biggest fan of Season 5, you should all know that by now. Okay, maybe it couldn't have been a comic book, and instead it was an anime. That would have still been sick. Have you seen the PV? Listen to the music? It's amazing. Also, just imagine if Miraculous Ladybug was actually released as anime. I have no doubt that it would be probably one of the most popular animes of all time. Oh no, but Ladybug's spots were too hard to animate. Whenever she like moves or she's fighting. Yeah, that's kind of the point of animation. There's an unwritten rule in animation that says you should never move the camera. Keep it still. Animation director Richard Williams, the man who art directed Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the most influential film of animated film of all time, said this about the rule. He said, quote, "Because they're lazy. I mean, we're supposed to be able to move things in every direction. That's our job." He said, "Isn't that a lot of work? Yeah, it's as much work." End quote. That film was made in the 1980s, frame by frame, by hand, using pencils, oil, and paint. I'm sure the PV was made with advanced computers and software for the time. So to me, that's just kind of crazy. Okay, whatever. The show's now 3D, things have changed, and it's still awesome. Right? I mean, sure, until like season 5. This season is when their identities are revealed, Marinette and Adrian are together, Hawkmoth is defeated, and the wish is granted. That was literally the whole point of the show. I didn't ask for all this extended bullshit, and it was executed such in a poor way. Like, it was executed in a poor way to try to fit the narrative, and it just doesn't work. I would be fine with Adrianette being official, the reveal, and Lila being the new Hawkmoth. but it was done in such a dumb way that I just don't think it works anymore. I gave this series the benefit of the doubt and I gave season 5 a watch. I'm a big believer in watching something before you criticize it. So I don't ever just look at something and automatically hate it. I literally haven't watched it. So how can you really have an opinion on something if you've never seen it? I didn't enjoy it as much as the other seasons, and maybe it's just time to let Miraculous Ladybug go. This show turns 10 years old next year, and I myself turn 18 in 6 months. I created this channel when I was a dumb 12 or 13-year-old who was obsessed with these characters, the story, and the lore. The creation of this channel gave me the chance to share my thoughts and ideas with others who enjoyed the same things as me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Till this day, I'm still not monetized on the channel. Yeah, I still continue to upload on this channel and upload the videos that I like to make. Because talking about cartoons and shows that I like, no matter who watches, was always a childhood dream of mine. I will continue to keep a pretty close eye on Miraculous Ladybug. The show is basically a part of my being at this point. It might once again become a mainstay on this channel. But until then, I've been the Miraculous Guy. And remember, stay miraculous. Perfect timing.